fastest show in sports.
How many players in today's day and age, and I know football players are the utmost, you've got to have that breakdown in the locker room. You want to go busting through that door, not push the door open gently like Mike McDaniels would hold it open for you. How many players can actually be coached in today's day and age? Because a lot of athletes, not just football players, this goes to football and basketball, and even sometimes even baseball, but let's go those two sports because you can be coached as an individual. How many of them actually been coached? Or how many of them have been told over the years, don't worry, we're getting our butts kicked, but you're doing just fine. Everyone else is not helping you. And I don't
we are in a, we could do the get off my lawn thing. I mean, we are in a part of society in which the idea of putting up a kid up against the locker is like Bob Knight used to do is not only abusive, it's a fireable offense. And I'm not saying you have to do that, but I still think that it's by and large, it's sanctioned violence. It's a car accident, pads and helmets.
But football is sanctioned violence. You're
gonna put your body and life on the line. You want somebody who's a little bit crazy. And I just, it goes back to all these guys. Like, I just think that at some point you want a little crazy in that locker room, because
I want to make this, and it's a shame because I could have had it probably ready at this point, although I don't know if I could have played it or not. Al Pacino's head coach on any Sunday, where he is in the face of the players before they is exactly what you want. He's a broken down man. He tells them all he's broken down. He gets it. You got to get out there and you got to want it. And the way he does it, that's what you want. But again, I think Kevin's point is well taken. I think we've gone past that. Look, even college coaches won't get in players' faces anymore because they don't want to get caught assaulting the player, or they don't want a player saying that the coach was mean to me, which is what we're hearing in a lot of this right now.
And guys, stay there for a second. You can't have the player say to the upper management, the coach was mean to me, because the player is then going to say, it's either he goes or I go. And if you're that high level of a player, they're going to keep the player because they need you to win. They can find another guy who can come in and placate you. Right?
Well, you're right. And it's you're right. I think there's a real fine line. Like Jeff Van Gundy told me this once when he was coaching the Knicks back in the day. He goes, if I don't have a good relationship with Patrick Ewing, I'm gone. And I still have to walk that fine line of motivating him and saying, get off your ass and work this summer, stop eating. But I have to have a real relationship where he respects me. I can tell him what I want to say, but I can't be a dick. I have to have a real relationship with him. Pat Riley said this once, and I still believe it. He said, he goes, I go, how do you get the attention of all these guys? And he goes, you know why? Because I see it as I'm governing 12. I'm not governing 12 guys and making a team. I'm governing 12 different CEOs of their own corporation. And all of them in their lives have people that tell them what they want to hear instead of what they need to hear. So even your mom and dad and people in your life that should be telling you what the hell's going on and what you need to hear, that you don't have equitable relationships with them because they're dependent on your income for survival. So Riley becomes the guy like, I'm going to be the last guy on frickin' earth that tells you what you need to hear, and I don't give a crap. And if you want, I'm not going anywhere. And it's one of the few things.
Most of them need it though, Mike. I mean, don't.
Everybody in their life
here, because the successful
it doesn't
teams
matter
are still
how
the ones, one way or another, where the coach, a head coach, an assistant coach, somebody is going to get in their face and they're going to tell them, look, that was a bad play you ran. That was the wrong play you ran. You got to get your head out of your ass, because otherwise, all we're going to do is we're going to hit that first playoff game. We're out. You're out playing golf. I'm maybe out of a job. You're maybe out of a job. Your contract is pissed off. Your endorsers are pissed off. I mean, that's just the way it goes. You got to get somebody in the and I still think that those teams are the ones that win championships.
I believe that, and it's like our own careers. I'm sure there's somebody in our lives to get where we've gone, like a teacher or a coach, that we look back on, and at the time we're going, God, what a hard ass, but this person's ruining my life. And then you wake up one day and you go, wow, This for me, it was this coach in Hawaii, high school basketball, Bob Nakagawa. Told me I was going to be off the team when I caught me at 10th grade between classes and trying to play hooky. And he said, "You don't really need to be here anymore." And it destroyed me so much. And he was so hard on me. But by the time I was a senior, I was like, you know what? I can deal with life. Those are the people you remember in life.
All right, can I give you one? I'm going to take you off the topic here for a second. To that point,
I already took us there.
I know you did. I'm going to take
the show always goes off topic. God love it, every single second of it.
Well, this is what we're supposed to do, right?
Damn right.
So I'm at Hofstra. It's 1997, and so I've been there for 2 years, and I've run into a journalism professor. His name is Stephen Knowlton, and he used to write for the New York Times, and he teaches at Hofstra, and he says, "I listen to you on the radio, and you're really good." He says, "But one day we want to be able to say Kevin Winter graduated from Hofstra University." Well, that summer of 97, I get a letter in the mail because I already got my report card. And my report card was not pretty. And I get a letter in the mail that says, we have lovely parting gifts for you, but please, if you're enrolled in any summer classes, get out. You are officially kicked out of Hofstra University. And I went,
whoa!
Oh shit. And now my mom finds it a day late. Like, she finds it that day, big to do. Eventually, I work my way back to get into Hofstra again. I go back. I'm allowed to take 4 classes.
Wait, they kicked you out? They really kicked you out?
I'm dead serious, Mike. They kicked me out.
That's awesome.
I had the GPA. I had the GPA of a doorknob, and I got kicked out. I was able to take a foreign language class at UMass Boston because that was kicking my ass, and I was able to get some credit, so I was able to go back to school. And I got back into Hofstra, and I got 4 A's and an A+ in those 4 classes I was allowed to take. I walked up to every professor who kicked me out, and I gave me an F the year before, and I looked at him and I go, "Fuck you." I went up to one professor, Stephen Knowlton. I shook his hand and I said, "Thanks." He says, "For what?" I said, "You gave me a wake-up call." So it's similar, like sometime.
Nice.
Every once in a while,
what a great story.
You need someone has no relation to you. You just come across someone in life that relates to you or sees something in you, but they will break you down, and you have a choice. Do you either take it on its face value for what it's worth and build off of it, or does it break you? That's the question. And that, to me, I think athletes are the same way, but I think it goes to everything in life.
I'm going to drive this over to hockey again, which is going to really annoy a lot of people.
Mike McDaniel is not that guy.
And Mike Daniel, full circle, Mike McDaniel is not that guy.
He's already proven that he's not that guy with several seasons, and you give him so much talent, and he's not been able to get it done.
This is old school, but I know. I miss Shula. Like, it's almost like Don Shula. We didn't have to know about all this stuff. It was sort of like you didn't know how the sausage was made and all this stuff. And I know it's not the best way to look at life.
I mean, we always talk about concussion protocols in a lot of sports these days, specifically in football. They don't talk about it enough in hockey, though for hockey it's still another collision sport, which is another sport where the brain starts to move around a little bit non-linear, if you will. But come on, guys, let's be honest. We know that there are players in the NFL who are going back into the tent or they're going back into the locker room and they're getting tested and they are being allowed back on the field either that game or 1 game later or 2 games later simply because they're the money-making part of the franchise. They got to get them back out there. The NFL is still going to, one way or another, the doctor is going to look at the NFL, look at the coach, whatever, and say, you know, this guy really needs to get out of here. This is not good. And the coach, are you sure? Because, gee, we really need him. Well, maybe, okay, maybe I'll let him go out and play. Maybe 1 more series and maybe he'll be okay. We know this happens every single day. The players are guinea pigs and they're there to make money. And unfortunately, it's going to happen. But you got to prepare for that inevitability. And Grier hasn't done that. They've done a terrible job in Miami.
That's all, folks.